He said, Mr. Bird is my dad's name. I'm Larry. Right. I said,
Joe Tilley's Great Canadian Sports Show is brought to you by DKI Canada. Across the street, across the country. He was one of the most intense competitors of the game, leading the Knicks and the Raptors to long playoff runs. Chris Childs, Joe Tilley's Great Canadian Sports Show. Coming up! Our guest today hails from Bakersfield, California, 6'3", 195-pound point guard. He starred at Boise State University, a three-time Big Sky Conference All-Star, the 1989 Big Sky Player of the Year, the CBA Playoff MVP. He played 10 NBA seasons with the Nets, the Knicks, and the Raptors. An all-NBA interview team member, named by the New York Press as the Good Guy of the Year. He's in the Boise State Hall of Fame. He has maintained long-time sobriety. He is, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the program, Chris Childs. Chris, great to have you here, my friend.
Hey, buddy. Thank you, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, this is wonderful. So it's funny. I was recently read the book, We the Raptors, 30 Raptor stories and from 30 players. And you were in the book. And Eric, yeah, there you go. So we had Eric Smith and Andrew Bricker, the authors, on the program. And we talked a little bit about Chris Childs. And it got me thinking, I got to have Chris on the program if I can get him. And I really appreciate you being here today. You were always considered one of the all-time intense competitors. Did that start growing up in Bakersfield, California?
Yeah, I think so. And I think it's, living in California and not being from Los Angeles. We were the underdogs, coming from a smaller city, not having the name, the high school that everybody recognized. So I took it personally. I felt that I can go out there and compete against anybody. And having two brothers, but having an older brother that was so-called in the neighborhood, they said that he was a better player than me. It motivated me to go out there and prove each and every time I was on the court that I can compete against anybody.
You talk about your brothers. How much of an influence was your family on your career, your success, your life?
Our family was so close. All the kids went to the same high school, Foothill High School in Bakersfield, California. Everybody played sports. The parents were there. So if my older brothers were playing, I would sit there and watch them. When I had my time to play, they would sit there and watch me. And my dad and mom was always in the stands. So we were very close-knit, very supportive of each other. But we also competed and got down and dirty.
Right. And you were the younger brother, so you had to compete just a little bit harder, I'm guessing, right?
Yeah, I was always having to prove myself. Fighting for scraps, food to eat, to being the rambunctious one, getting into their clothes because I wanted to be older and wear their stuff, and got slapped around a lot for doing that, but it paid off in the long run.
Well, I can relate to that. I'm the youngest of five, so I know what it's like to be the kind of last one to get a chance to eat. But I did get a lot of once my siblings left the house, I kind of got to be king for a little while, and that was a little bit of fun. So, did you have any experience like that? King for a day.
Yeah, I had a younger sister, so I didn't have to really compete against her too much. So, but I was protective. So if it wasn't enough, I would always share because I'm good at sharing things.
Right. So basketball apparently wasn't your first sport. You had other plans early on, didn't you?
Yeah, baseball was my first love. Enjoyed it. My brother played. Both of my brothers played. My sisters played softball. We played in church league. So when I got to high school, one of the coaches, I was out there just hitting batting practice, and the coach was like, are you on the team? I'm like, no, I'm on the basketball team. I'm just out here working on my swing. And he was like, why don't you come play? Because I can switch hit, a right hand or left handed. Because I really like to hit left handed because I was a Ricky Henderson fan. And I saw him do an interview, and he said from the left side, I can get to first base faster when I wanted to drag bunt. So I started working with my brother on my left-handed swing, and my drag bunting and my speed, I can, run pretty fast. So always loved the game, loved the nuance of it, the chess play of the baseball game. But then again, I had to prove to people in the neighborhood and my family that, no, I'm not better than my brother. I know my brother's more athletic. He played football, ran track, great basketball player. But I knew that I can work harder. I was mentally better than a lot of players that came out of my neighborhood, came out of California, wanted to go to college, so baseball just wasn't in the plans. I promised my mother I would go to college, so didn't get a chance to realize my baseball dreams, but I still love the game, playing in New York and being around Derek Jeter. We became good friends, so I still love the game. I watch it to this day.
You must have enjoyed that run by the Blue Jays. I know we certainly did up in Canada.
It was so fun to watch that one game. I think it went 18 innings.
Yeah.
18 innings. That was one of the greatest baseball games I've ever seen. I mean, it was back and forth, and I thought, I'm not a Dodger fan. Even though I'm from California, I'm a Yankee fan. So I did not want the Dodgers to win. And Toronto had their chances, but I think it was game 6, took a lot out of them.
Yeah. But they still had chances in game 7 too. I mean, there were so many opportunities for them. They just couldn't get that one run they needed. But it was such a fun time for baseball fans up in Canada this fall. Playing in November was not something we expected.
Right. It's hockey time, but that team should be celebrated all year round because they showed what they were made of, and they were a fun team to watch.
Yeah. We're looking forward to what's coming up next. Okay, so back to Chris Childs. So you talked about your mental focus, and that's really what led to your success. How did you end up at Boise State?
Well, in high school, I was a part of the student union, and I protested that I thought the ACT and the SAT test was biased towards minorities because a lot of the questions on there, we've never lived it or seen it or could understand it. And so I protested. I refused to take the test along with a lot of other students. And once the colleges got a hold of that, and they put in the newspaper, instead of me protesting, they put Chris Childs, the militant guard or high school player or something like that. But they said militant.
Right. Militant was the word, yeah.
Militant, right? And so a lot of the colleges just said, we don't want to deal with this. And I had over, 70, 80 offers. And my dad at the time was a city councilman, and he said, listen, if you believe in this, stand by it, but you got to know what comes with the consequences of your choices. And he said, if you want to go to college, go ahead and just take the test. So I took the test, blew it out the water, still wore a shirt to say, I don't believe in the system. And, that was just my thought process. But now a lot of the colleges came back, and I told them, no need. I don't want to go to your college because you don't represent what a young man believes in. Then there's no need for me to be there because I'm not going to be there on my own goals that I want to achieve in life, and you're not going to support that. So could have went to USC, UCLA, Cal, Virginia, all the schools. And so I was on the plane going to SMU, flew into Dallas, as soon as I land, reporters come up, coaches meet me. They got the death penalty because of John Concact when he got in trouble with the NCAA. So they got the death penalty, or they got on probation or something for 5 years, 3 years or something. So I said, darn. So now I got to get back on the plane. So as I'm in the airport, talk to the UNLV, Jerry Tarkanian. And he's like, hey, we want you to come here. We'll send you a ticket, change your flight. And I just so happened, I said, hey, he said, no, he said, but you're not going to start. I said, hold on, I don't get a chance to compete for the job. He said, no, Greg Anthony's going to start. And I was like, and what's crazy, Greg Anthony and I talked about this story 3 months ago at John Stark's golf tournament. And so I tell Tark, I'm like, hold on, you talking about Greg Anthony that went to Portland State? Because he went to Portland State before he went to UNLV, and we played against each other in college. And I had like 35. And I was like, so you're not going to give me a chance? He said, no. I said, well, don't send me a ticket. I don't want to come to your school. And I knew the talent that they had coming in.
Yeah.
But I was like, if you're not going to let me compete, I don't want to be there. So a coach Bobby Dye, who coached, Leon Woods, who was an Olympian and went to Fullerton. He was the coach in my hometown at a college and ended up at Boise State. So I called him and I said, hey, I'm looking for a college. Just turned down UNLV. SMU got the death penalty. Do you have any positions open? He said, yes, we have a scholarship. I said, well, I would like to come, but will I get a chance to compete for the starting job? He said, yeah, you'll get a chance to compete, but we have a senior named Eric Hayes who was 6'4", built like a god. Here I am, 6'3" at the time, about 155 pounds wet. Yeah. And I tell Bobby Dye, I said, well, you tell Eric Hayes when I come there, is he okay coming off the bench his senior year, because that's where he's going to play. And the coach was like, really? I said, yeah. And so I get to Boise State and I go in the weight room where they're lifting, and I go up to him and I say, hey, I'm Chris Childs, heard a lot about you. I hope you're okay with coming off the bench, because this is going to be my starting spot.
Yeah, bold maneuver, that's for sure. Yeah.
Hey, I had a lot of confidence in my ability. And from day one of practice, Bobby Dye saw what I can bring to the team. And I was a starting point guard, and Eric Hayes moved to the 2 guard.
That is incredible. I mean, they got to utilize his talent as a 2 guard. You were the man. That's a freshman. That's fantastic. I mean, as you said, 155 pounds soaking wet, but you're starting as a freshman, 4 years as a Bronco, as a starter, Big Sky Player of the Year. What were the highlights for you at Boise State? You set a lot of school records, by the way. Free throw percentage, 81.8%. 3-point field goals, 186. Steals, 215. 3 straight 21 seasons. Some impressive numbers over at Boise State.
It was such a great time and atmosphere, because they weren't known for basketball when I got there. They were a junior college prior to them becoming a university, and the city opened their arms to guys like myself, Arnell Jones, Doug Usatello, Wilson Foster, Greg Dodd, Brian King, Brian Sperry, all my teammates. If I didn't mention them all, please forgive me. I'm 58 years of age now, so I don't remember it like I used to. But yeah, it was just a great community, and to be a part of a building process of something of that significant of a university or a basketball program, I took a lot of pride in it, and I tried to carry myself in a manner that my parents would be proud of me, because my father always said, when you go outside these doors, you're always auditioning for somebody, because somebody's watching. So be the best version of yourself, because that's what they're going to remember. So I tried to do that when I was at school. And when I played the game, and people were like, well, you're so totally different off the floor than you are on the floor, because you're so intense. I'm like, well, wouldn't you be intense at your job if you're 9 to 5?
Yeah.
Right. And so I have to be intense because I'm not just responsible for me. I'm responsible for my teammates. I'm responsible for the coaching staff. I'm responsible for the fans to put the best effort forward when I'm out there and give them a show. And being at Boise, going up against teams like when we went to the NCAA's tournament and playing against Michigan, and those guys. I'm sorry.
Or Fab Five? Fab Five?
No. It was before them.
Yeah, a little after that.
Yeah, this is before. Yeah. This is with Glenn Rice, Terry Mills, Lloyd Vaught, Gary Grant, Antoine Jobert, all these guys. They were all Americans, but I was an All-American in my mind as well, and so it was a great game. We got down by 20 in the first half and came back and lost at the buzzer. But it was just a great elevation of where Boise State basketball started, where we got it to, and now, where it's building, and they're in a different conference now. And the only way you do that is have a successful team so it can generate revenue so you're able to move on to other conferences and start getting money back from the NCAAs.
Well, you're player of the year in your conference. You were set all the school records. You were a great student, all that stuff, and yet you don't get drafted. How did that happen? You must be. Were you disappointed? And how did that come down?
Yeah, it was heart-wrenching because I was in Sports Illustrated as one of the best guards come out the West, along with Tim Hardaway. Out the East, it was Dana Barrows, Rod Strickland, and those guys, and so. From the reports that I got from my agent at the time, and that's why I don't have an agent anymore. I didn't have one when I was in the NBA. I did my own contract because he told me one thing. He told me one thing, and it didn't happen. So, but long story short, went to the pre-draft camp, which they were being held in Chicago. And Rod and I were good friends ever since he played with the Gauchos in New York, and I played with another travel team out of Fresno, California. Became good friends. And so when we were in Chicago, which he knew the area, he was like, Chris, man, you're playing well. Your draft stock is going to go up because they had you as a late first rounder. Now I think you're going to be right there in the middle. And I said, well, I did all I can do. Hopefully, everything turns out the way it should. And so Rod and I went to eat at a TGI Fridays, said our goodbyes, dapped each other up and said, see you at the draft, or we'll talk after you get drafted. So I get back to Boise. My parents are in town, friends. We have a pre-draft party, and my name never gets called. And so crushed. I go in the room. My father said, give him a minute. He'll be okay. And so I went in there, cried, got myself together in like 15 minutes. I wrote on a T-shirt, everybody that got drafted in front of me. And I said, every time I see that player, I'm going to make them pay for me not getting drafted, or I'm going to take it out on them. Came out the room, thanked everybody for coming. And I said, I'm going to the mountains in Boise to run hills. And I got dressed, left, and just started training. And so the rumor was out that I was selling drugs, which I wasn't, that I was a partier, which I wasn't, didn't have my first drink of alcohol until I got to college, didn't drink in high school, didn't smoke, didn't do anything. So I don't know where it started, but there was nothing that I can do to change people's mind other than play the game. And so by night,
and that's what you did, right? And
yeah, Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say that's what you did. You went to the Continental Basketball Association. You sucked it up, and wow, you put in 5 good years, I believe it was, in the CBA, and you were obviously motivated.
Yeah, what happened, like 4 years of my time in the CBA, bounced around several teams. Started off in Rapid City, Wisconsin, then went to La Crosse, Wisconsin, went to Rockford Lightning, went to the Columbus Horizon, we had a team in my hometown called the Bakersfield Jam. That team folded, and then was blessed to play for the Quad City Thunder. And so now I'm in the league. I was in the league 4 years, never made an all-star team, never made any awards, accolades when I was there. And so what occurred is that I was laying there one day and I woke up and I was at the edge of my son's bed after a night of drinking. And the look in his eyes would crush any man's demeanor as being a father. And so I called Ann DeLong, who was the owner at the time. I said, hey, I need to go get this thing taken care of. She said, I know exactly the place you need to go. And so she, wow, this is tough because she's no longer here, but she's such an important person to me. Mm. She got her own plane, flew to Houston with me to meet John Lucas, the great John Lucas. Mm-hmm. And so, when you go to a place, a rehab facility, the first thing you're thinking is, I'm not like that person. Just because you're not laid somewhere under a bench or outdoors drunk or whatever, doesn't mean you don't have a drunken mentality, because people get it misconstrued that the drink itself is the problem. That's not really the problem. It's a piece of the problem, but it's learning how to live life on life terms. So when I got there, that's what John was teaching us. It was other athletes there. I'm not going to mention their name because that's for them to talk about, not me. But there's a lot of other guys there, but I still wasn't convinced. After being there 35 days, we had a basketball team called the Miami Tropics in the ABA. Mm-hmm. And so we leave Houston, we go down to Miami, and that's one of the worst places you can be when you're trying to deal with recovery. All right. But I think that was John's madness to put you in a position so that you put temptation in front of you, so that you can demonstrate if you're strong enough to handle that. And so after 54 days being there, not being able to play with the team, I finally figured it out that you are on the path of destruction if you continue down this path. And so went to John and we had a conversation and he said, now you got it. I went back home to Bakersfield, went to a buddy of mine's gym, and I said, hey, can I stay in your gym for the summer? I want to live in the gym. And so I brought a cot out. I said, in the gym, I said, I will clean the gym, I will mop, I will do whatever needs to be done to get the gym prepared for the day, the next day, if you allow me to just stay in here. And so I had a cot. I would wake up at 12 o'clock in the morning, wake up at 2. I would just wake up every 2 hours and work on my game, eating sardines and tuna and Vienna sausages. And my parents thought I was crazy. Like, you don't want to come home and get a hot meal? I'm like, no, I don't deserve one, because I need to finally show that I can do without things in order to reach my goal. So I did that for 3 months. And I got back to the Quad Cities, and finally it hit me that I can play the game, but can I run a team full of men? Because you have to learn how to cater to some. You have to talk to them a certain way or talk to this one. So when I got I can yell at Oak, but I can't yell at Patrick. So I learned that in the CBA, and that's when that last year I was there, my career took off, the team's trajectory took off, and we won the whole thing. And so after doing that, the NBA, the brass of the NBA saw that I was capable of running a ball club, and it wasn't just about me. And that's when I got my shot with the Nets.
Wow. Well, that was, I mean, for a guy who didn't drink in high school, didn't party much in college, and then you get into the CBA and the things. So you must have fallen pretty fast, pretty hard to get to that point that quickly.
Well, it was me just suppressing all the things that I was dealing with. It's been a lot of shows that people talked about depression and certain feelings. You have to talk about things, because the more you suppress them, the worse it gets, because the problem's going to still be there. So you have to allow your ego to leave and just man up, admit your faults, admit your shortcomings, and deal with them head on.
Right. Well, smashing that ego is tough. I mean, it was like you have to. I mean, because I've been surviving on ego my whole life, and so I've been sober, I think, a little bit longer than you have. I got sober in '92, and I think you've been sober since '93. So we've both been sober a long time. And the process for me was, got to smash that ego, got to be able to change my way of thinking, completely change my way of thinking. Now, I look to a higher power now than I do to my ego power. And that's a complete turnaround. And it sounds to me like, I ended up living on my buddy's one bed basement apartment, sleeping in his love seat. My life was ruined, and I lost my family, lost everything. But gradually you start getting things back because you're living a different way, a different life, and the whole mentality, everything's different, right? Like your way of thinking changes completely. And what happened to that player? You mentioned to it, now you're in a place where you can deal with men and run a team of men and kind of man up yourself. Is that what you're saying here?
Yeah, you get clarity. You live in that fog for so long, and then once you get sober, you get clarity, and then you start to realize what your responsibilities are in life. That comes first. So when I was able to deal with that part, the basketball became easier because I was clear-minded. And so now I'm able to see things differently. I'm able to approach things differently. I'm able to handle things differently. So being around 14 other different personalities, if I was cloudy in my head, then I wouldn't be able to hear what they were saying to me. So now to have that clarity, I can listen. You listen with your ears, but you hear with your eyes. And so I was able to do that. And now I was able to talk to them in a manner that I know this type of person. So I know what I can say. But I can't ask something of you if I didn't do it myself. So I think that's where the change came from.
Yeah, right. Get a chance to listen and learn something, right? Yeah,
absolutely.
Ego driven is really, when I'm ego driven, I really have a hard time listening. So the Quad City Thunder. Okay, so you win a league title, CBA playoffs MVP award in 1994, averaging 17.9 points, 7 assists, 7.6 assists. How important was it for you to have that CBA experience before you got the opportunity with the Nets?
Well, I think it was vital. I think the CBA was like gladiator school, man. It was, you have guys that were lifelong CBA players. I've seen some stuff I've never imagined that I would see on a basketball court. I mean, guys were hungry to get there, and they would use any trick they could to get you off your game. I've seen guys spit in other people's face at the jump ball. I'm like, what is this? It was just so different. And the guys were a lot bigger, stronger. And people have to understand, you had, I think at the time, maybe 14 teams in the league when I was there, 14 or 16. And you might get maybe 5 to 6 call-ups a year. So you have all these players fighting for 6 spots on getting a call up, and it was usually a 10-day. So you go up there, and what you're doing, you're auditioning again for the team that that called you up, and if you don't perform in those 10 days, you go to the bottom of the list. Now, numbers wise, you do a 10-day, and then a guy that was a draft pick comes back off of IR. Now you might go to another team, or they'll call you back up because you played well. But it was gladiator school. And when I got to the NBA, when I got to the Nets, it became so easy because a lot of these guys didn't like to practice. And I couldn't understand that.
Practice?
And practice. But I told Kenny Anderson, who was my teammate in New Jersey when I got there. Well, first David Wesley was the backup. He was the backup when I got to the Nets. And so my game was in practice. And so I told David Wesley, I said, man, if you don't want to practice, you might want to sit out because I'm going to pick you up as soon as you come out the locker room defensively. This is how hungry I am, because even when I proved myself, they still only gave me a partial guarantee, which at that time was $75,000 of $150 of what your first year's salary was. And I was hot. I was like, after what I just went through in the CBA, I'm only getting partial, but I had to I bet on myself. And plus, I was making $500 before taxes with 2 kids and a wife. So that 75 looked like 750,000,
right?
Compared to what I was getting. But yeah, I got there, was still like chip on the shoulder to prove myself. I remember a couple of practices, David Wesley couldn't get the ball across half court because I was in such good shape. I was probably bench pressing 365, squatting 540. I was just solid. And they traded David to Charlotte, and I was the backup. Wow. And so I told Kenny Anderson the same thing, which is my buddy. I said, hey, if you don't want to practice, you want to go out to the clubs and all this stuff, don't come to practice because I'm picking you up as soon as you come out the locker room. I don't care. I want this spot. And so I think midway through the end of the season, they traded him to Portland, and I became the starter. And that's when my career took off because guys could see the hunger and the work that I was putting in, that they can count on me and depend on me. And I think a lot of other brass in the NBA and on other teams saw that I was capable of running the ball club as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, from that moment on, there's no more partial contracts. And it's going to be...
no more.
Yeah, go ahead, finish
it
up.
It was bonuses added in there as well.
Yeah, beautiful. Without an agent too, I might add. Yeah, great.
Without one, no more agents. Just pay an attorney to read over the verbiage in the contract. My dad did contracts for the city, so I didn't need to. I'm like, why am I paying this person 4% of what he can do in an hour? So no more agents. Pick up a USA Today's newspaper every Tuesday, and you can see what everybody's making, and you can see your minutes compared to their minutes, their points compared to yours. That's how you negotiate a contract.
Don't need an agent to read the paper. So 2 years with the Nets, and then you cross the Hudson to play for the Knicks. What was that like for you? That change?
Yeah, man, went through the Lincoln Tunnel to get to the Garden. It was to be courted as a free agent.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to stay in Jersey. I really did, but John Calipari, this guy is something else. So we had a meeting, and he told me, well, he said, I think we want you, but he wanted me at a rate of $2 million a year. And I know people are like, that's a lot of money. Of course it is. It's life-changing money. But you're living in New York and the taxes are different. Yeah. My family's growing. That's not what my market value is. And so he told me, well, if you don't want that, then we're going to go with Robert Pack. And I was like, all right, Pack. I mean, I like Robert Pack, but he wasn't me, So I said, you know what? I was like, don't worry about it. Because he was a new coach. I didn't play for him. They fired Butch Beard, who was my coach. Him and Stan Albeck, Jerry Reeves, Clifford Ray. Those are my coaches. So I didn't feel I had any obligation or loyalty to Calipari, and I didn't really care for the man because he wasn't humble enough. I don't think his demeanor was suited for the NBA. And so I said, you know what? Don't worry about it. I walked out. And so then it was between the Lakers and the Knicks. And Kobe had to sign off on me coming to the Lakers because of our altercation. Yeah, our altercation. And he was like, yeah, because he always told people, and I would see him in the summer times, that he respected me. Did he like getting hit? No man would. But he respected me because, one, I didn't back down, and I've never backed down from anybody, let alone somebody younger than me. Never would. But he respected that I stood for something. And so, yeah, that was just, hey, this is not what we do here.
Yeah.
And so he signed off, but they only wanted to give me 5 years, and it would have been great playing them out, at home with family and friends. But New York offered me 6. So I took that, and getting to New York, doing a press conference with Allen Houston and Larry Johnson as the new free agent signings, and holding that number 1 jersey up, and seeing Clyde Frazier, who I've always admired, loved his game. He played both ends. He played with a flair that I appreciated. And then him coming to me and saying, hey, we're so glad to have you. If you need anything, you need to talk, whatever, I'm here for you. And he took me around the city in this old school Rolls Royce. It was a beautiful vehicle.
Yeah.
With the big headlights and, like back in the day, like one of the pimps or something, like,
right.
Ron O'Neal. But it was just such a classic car and classic Clyde that he showed me the city, where to go, where not to go. And he said to me, if you leave it out there on the floor, these fans will respect you and love you for the rest of your life. And that's what I tried to do.
Hey, Chris,
the
first time you walked into the Garden, what was that like? It's such an iconic building. And what was your thoughts coming in? And by the way, your boxing is really good. Joe's a boxer, and I think he could attest. You have a very good combo, very good right left.
I didn't want to hurt him because if you can tell, I didn't roll my punches. I just tap, just to get him off of it. But if I'd have rolled my punches, I could have really did some damage. So I would still be suspended today.
You just gave him a taste.
My punches.
Little taste of Chris. Yeah. That's it.
Yeah. Just
what was the Garden like? What was the Garden like? Or even going to Boston to play when you played there? What was it like?
Well, the Garden.
The iconic buildings.
Yeah. In New York, when I got there, because Willis Reed was my GM in New Jersey. And so when I got to New Jersey and had conversations with him, it was just the knowledge of the game that this man had was incredible. And then to finally get to the Garden, and during free agency, once you sign, all of us went to the Garden, and the announcer called our name to come out through the tunnel to introduce us to the fans. And I had chill. I don't get nervous because nervous means you didn't prepare. So I didn't get nervous, but I did get the chill bumps all over my body because I can just think of when they won the championship, when Willis Reed came out the tunnel, when he hurt his ankle, just realizing a dream come true that I've always wanted to play in New York, the Mecca, and having your name called as a starting point guard for the New York Knicks was incredible. And I enjoyed every minute of it. And then going to Boston, I remember as a rookie, it was when I was with New Jersey. And I went up, Larry Bird was in there shooting. I usually get, if the game's at 7:30, I would get there usually 4:34. And so I think I'm the first one on the court. Larry Bird's in a full sweat. So I'm watching, I'm like, gosh, dang, that's Larry Bird. And so I'm like, I got to go say something to him because I'm seeing him shooting. And so I went up to him and said, hey, Mr. Bird, excuse me. He turned around and gave me a look that would crack anybody's forehead. And he said, Mr. Bird is my dad's name. I'm Larry. Right. I said, okay. I said, and I brought a little smile, and he gave a little smirk. I said, I'm Chris. He said, I know who you are. He said, I do my report on everybody I'm getting ready to play against. I said, well, I appreciate that. I said, how many shots do you shoot a day? He said, if I got to count them, I ain't shoot enough. Got back to shooting, right? And I said, okay.
Wow.
When they come to the Garden, when they come to the Meadowlands. No, it wasn't Jersey. I'm sorry. It was when it was when I was trying out with the Spurs. That's when it was. And so I said, when he comes to San Antonio, I'm gonna be out there first. So I get there like 3:30. I walk in there. He's already in there. Thought I was gonna beat him. So I'm shooting. He's shooting. He sits down. I go over there. I say, hey, talked to you last time. I said, I heard you say if you got to think of a number, you didn't shoot enough. I said, but actual number, hypothetically, what do you think? He said between 5,000 and 6,000 shots a day.
Wow.
I'm thinking 1,000 shots is a lot. He said 5,000 to 6,000 shots a day. He said, because there's a motor in our body that you have to be able to do it the same way every time. It's mechanics. It's all these different things that goes into shooting the basketball. People think they shoot with their hand. No, you shoot with your legs. So if you don't get lift, then the ball's not going to lift up. And then there's a muscle right around your shoulder where you push up and lift the ball to shoot. That's why they call it arc. And he's giving me all the breakdowns. I'm like, I got a lot of work to do. And so, yeah, I left that, and I've always taught the kids that I train that if you have to think of a number, then you haven't shot enough, and you need to shoot 5,000 to 6,000 shots a day. And I always tell them I got that from the great Larry Bird, and so it carries a little more weight when I add his name to it.
Yeah, if there's Bird does it, he was the pro. He was the pro. He was the guy. When it comes to shooting,
and the Boston arena, as he was asking about, playing there, I hated that gym because they had dead spots. Like you'll be dribbling, and they knew that you'll be dribbling, and you'll move forward, and the ball is like 2 feet behind you because it done hit a dead spot. And so that was one of the worst gyms. Then they had rats running around the pipes inside the locker room. They would turn the heat up to 110. It was brutal, man. They were brutal.
Let me ask about the showers. Did you even bother showering after a game there? Or
what?
Just get to the hotel.
The corroded pipes and the water was freezing cold. You took a bird bath, so you run in the sink, you just sprinkle and then get out of there. Yeah.
Sorry, Joe. I had to ask.
No, it's good, man. Thank you. Thanks, Vic.
But those places are iconic, man. And of course, you had to build something for the new millenniums coming in. But if I wish I would have got a piece of the parquet floor in Boston, because that was such. And they were some of the dirtiest, rowdiest fans that you could ever imagine. But that's the way the game should be. You should support your team. We shouldn't go to the opposing team's arena and have more fans than their fans. So I'm all for fans being rowdy, but being respectful.
When you return to play against the Nets, I'm guessing this was an enjoyable moment for you. You're facing your former team. You guys are down by 1, 14 ticks to go. Check out this move. Reverse spin in the lane, changing hands, incredible layup. And then you sealed this win with some great D. What was that like for you? I mean, what a phenomenal move, first of all.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, that was just ingenuity. When you guys are coming, big guys, you got to try to figure out how to get the ball up to the basket. But like I said before, if I wasn't prepared or in great shape, you can't make moves like that. So that was special. That was a special moment. But also, when the Nets came over, I was with Derek Harper is somebody that had a great influence on my career because I tried out with the Mavericks when they drafted Steve Alford and outplayed him, but he was their draft pick and didn't make it. And Derek said, you can play this game. You can play in the NBA. And then end up going to New York after he left. I replaced him, and I used one of his moves to steal the ball to clinch the game. And after the game, he gave me a hug. He said, you finally figured it out. He said, you got me with my own move. I said, you're a great teacher. He said, no, but you're a great student. So, yeah, it was real special.
Speaking of special, incredible run with the Knicks in 1999. You stunned the Heat in round 1, swept the Hawks in the second round. And then in the Eastern Final, you guys took care of business against the Pacers, including that huge comeback win in Game 4. You were an absolute beast in the series and the game. What were the highlights for you personally?
Well, playing in the Garden and going up against Indiana, one of our rivalries, to perform when everything counted, everything was on the line, in Madison Square Garden on NBC in front of millions, to be out there and being able to play and compete and with the guys that we started off horrible during that 99 season. Guys are injured. We just couldn't get it going, and Patrick getting hurt. And so I think we won our last 8 out of 10 or 7 out of 10 to get the 8th seed, because that's all we talked about. If we get to the 8th, all we got to do is get to the 8th seed. We'll beat Miami because we really owned them. They got us in 97 because of the suspension when PJ and Charlie got into it. We were up against them 3-1. So we knew that we can beat them. We just had to get there. And once we got there, and it was a battle, we were bruised and banging and trying to take each other's heads off. But it's those type of games that prepare you for what we had to go through to get through Indiana. And then when LJ hit the 3-pointer and he sprints down the court, now I got to chase him because my point guard mentality is working. Hey, man, the game is just tied. You got to calm down. And as I'm saying this, here you see Spree sprinting, and he bear hugs both of us. And I'm like, Spree, calm the F down. He needs to make, okay, LJ, calm down. Yeah. You can see LJ. Yeah. He puts his hands up. Okay, chill. They call me chill. Okay, chill. Okay. And so, LJ still owes me some money for that. But no, I'm just kidding. We talk all the time. I just talked to him the other day, but that was big, him hitting that free throw, because who knows what would have happened if we'd have made it to overtime. So him making that free throw, catapulted us to the finals, and there's nothing like it. We didn't do well against San Antonio because we were banged up. We lost Patrick. We were undermanned, undersized, and those guys were playing volleyball, man. So they had a great team. Wish we could have
Twin Towers
when we were at full strength. But hey, can't cry over spilled milk. We made it, didn't get it done, but we can always say that we did make it to 1 during our careers.
So you got 5 big years and great years in New York. What did it feel like when they told you were getting dealt to Toronto?
Oh man, it was heart-wrenching. I was in Hackensack, New Jersey, in the barbershop, and it was snowing. It was like a blizzard. And so we're all sitting in there, my guys, and that I go and hang out with in the barbershop. And it's 11:59.
Oh.
We're counting down the seconds. My phone rings. I'm like, you have to be kidding me. They said, yeah, we just wanted to let you know we traded you to the Raptors for Mark Jackson. I said, what? For Mark Jackson? I was like, you got to be kidding me. So I'm like, all right. I hung up the phone, tell my guys, everybody's energy just dropped. And I'm like, Toronto? Like, what? I'm like, I've never been. I've been to Canada. I've been to Calgary. Been to, is it Saskatoon? Saskatchewan. Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. So I've been in those little bitty cities. Never been to Toronto. So I'm like, dang it. So get to Toronto and get off the airplane, and I see how clean it is. Walk through the city. I'm like, there's no trash. There's, no bums. Like, this is different. It's clean. So I'm like, okay. Get to the arena, meet Lenny Wilkens, see my man Oakley. We hug it out, wrap it up. He gave me the rundown on the team. So I knew a lot of the guys, but I didn't know them just from competing. But I knew Del Curry because we played in, golf together and golf tournaments and whatnot. So I knew Antonio Davis because he's from Oakland, California. Played against him, Indiana. Knew of Vince Carter, Alvin Williams, Mo Pete, Jerome Williams, Keon Clark, Eric Montrose, all these guys and assistant coaches. So I'm like, okay, this might be all right. Then I went out to dinner and seen the restaurant, seen the people, and seeing how nice they were. I'm like, all right, I think I can manage. And then getting on the court and seeing the amount of talent they had and seeing Vince Carter up close, I was like, okay, we can do some. We can cause some problems in the East. And so that introduction motivated me along the city, and then being out in the city, and any place I go, I implement myself in what the environment of the city is. And so I knew it was a big Jamaican following. I knew it was Ethiopian following. I knew it was just Canadian following. I went to see The Lion King in French. I was like, this is cool, because they give you the headphones and you can either listen to English or and translate.
Yeah.
So I was like, this is pretty dope. And so once we started playing and seeing the energy of the fans and seeing how it was different in New York than it is in Toronto. New York is expected right now. Toronto Raptors at that moment were very patient with us. We were winning, but you can see that they needed that. They were patient. Other teams weren't able to bring that type of excitement. But I guess when you have a Vince Carter and a Keon Clark that jumps out the gym, it can bring a lot of excitement. So that transition from New York to Toronto was made a lot easier by the way the people in that city treated me. And to this day, I tell people all the time, you got to go to Toronto during Caravana. It's the end of July, first week of August, and it is beautiful and it's a great time. It's one of the most gorgeous cities I've ever seen, and it has a lot to offer.
Yeah, you talk about Keon Clark. It seemed like he had 10-foot long arms. I mean,
that guy, he was long.
Machine.
He was long. He jumped out the gym. Yeah, that's my buddy.
Yeah. So you did a piece with Raptors broadcaster Paul Jones when you're here in Toronto, and you talked about Lenny Wilkens, who recently passed away. And of course, we also got a chance to see your golf swing. Now, let's roll that clip.
I'm still a little rusty, but I'll see if I can hit this driver down there a little bit.
This is the hustler in him, rusty my foot.
I am rusty. That was a duck hook. Let's try it again. So you get on camera, you try to swing too hard.
Wow.
That'll play. Lenny has a great rapport with his players. A lot of times coaches feel they can't talk to players or they can't be too friendly with them. But Lenny talks and he shares experience game things that he went through, and he's always teaching. And anytime you play for someone that's not only played the game, but has success doing it and has coached in all the biggest games, won NBA championships, you can only learn from a guy like that. Coach gives you an opportunity to go out there and just be yourself and play your game. Yeah, you're still structured and you still have to play within the system, but there's not just one person that's going to control a basketball game. He lets the point guards call a lot of the plays, which we weren't able to do before. He lets us speak in timeouts, give input, and that's the respect factor that he has not only for us as men, but as good basketball players.
What was it that impressed you the most about Lenny Wilkens?
Rest in peace, Coach. His strength within his quietness. You know, you have a lot of people, or a lot of people and coaches that motivates you in different way, or you look up to them in different ways. I just really respected Coach because he never changed who he was. This is me. I remember he told, when I first got there and we had practice, he walked in, he said, "Hey guys, I'm going to be here for an hour and a half. I don't know how long you're going to be here, but I'm only going to be here an hour and a half. So if you guys are ready to work, let's work. Let's get out of here." He didn't like spending a lot of time in the gym because he wanted you as a man to prepare yourself. He's going to give you the recipe, but it's up to you to cook the food. And so he wasn't a Jeff Van Gundy. He wasn't a Chuck Daly. He was Lenny Wilkens, and his confidence in what he instilled in us was so important to us and the younger players, because he would say at one time, and with a straight face, and hey, this is how you do it. But he would also sit down with us and joke and laugh, and we would eat afterwards in our locker room area. He would sit there, make a plate, cross his leg, and eat and laugh, because after he's done with the basketball side, he still has another life to live. So I don't think he took the losses home with him, or even the game home with him most times, because he knew there was another day, coming. And so I enjoyed it, man. I loved him. We've had conversations after I left Toronto. We had conversations leading up to, I think it was like 2 years I talked to him before his passing. Just a great, great man that's going to be missed by many. And I hope that one day that Raptor team can come together to do something and celebrate the life of Coach Wilkens.
He was incredible to deal with from the media side as well. Just a gentleman, calm, cool, collected, like nice, just a pure gentleman.
Very classy, very classy.
Yeah. So you were a key factor in the Raptors finally finding some playoff success after a whole bunch of first round playoff losses, and you got a chance to help knock off your former team. Game 4 was huge against the Knicks. You had 25 points, 4 for 5 from downtown, 6 rebounds, 4 assists. You were a 3 steals. You were a one-man wrecking crew in this game. What did it feel like to face your former team and beat them?
Well, leading up to that series, and the way my ex-coach Jeff Van Gundy was saying, and to the media and different things, I didn't really like that too much, because of the conversations that Jeff and I had prior to me going to the bench to let Charlie start was kind of fabricated, and it kind of made me feel some kind of way. So, I just, I enjoyed it, man. I loved him. We had conversations after I left Toronto. We had conversations leading up to, I think it was like 3 years I talked to him before his passing. Was kind of fabricated, and it kind of made me feel some kind of way. So I made sure that I got myself mentally ready, and I told him while he was, on the bench, and I told Spree, I told Allen, I said, you guys don't take this personally, but I'm getting ready to whoop y'all, you know what. And I meant every bit of that. And I had to let them know that you traded me for Mark Jackson, who was with Indiana, that I guarded and held him under check. But you think that he can come in and do a better job than what I did. So it felt a little slighted, disrespected. And I said, I'm going to make him pay, I'm going to make Charlie pay, I'm going to make Spree pay. Because those were the guys that, other than Charlie didn't chirp, but Mark chirped a little bit, and Spreewell liked to chirp. And so I'm like, okay, we'll see in the game. And every time I made a basket, I would say something to Jeff. I told you. I said, and I was like, you're not as smart as you claim to be. Told you. Yeah, you're pretty dumb. I was giving it to him. I was giving it to him.
Yeah. It was beautiful. It was such a great playoff run here in Toronto. We just enjoyed that immensely. So, when did you only just a short time here in Toronto? What made you decide that it was time to hang him up?
Well, after I left Toronto, I signed with the Nets. I was a free agent again, and they offered me 2 years. And I didn't know it at the time, but I had a hairline fracture in my foot. So I let them know that prior to them signing me. And so I trained and did everything I could. And, I gained weight, lost the weight, then I gained strength and I lost it. And so it was just a constant battle. So I think that year I only played maybe 20 games or 30, I'm not sure. But I would play 2 games, had to sit out and read. And so I was out one night with a friend, Jesse Armstead, he was getting traded. He was a football player for the Giants. He was getting traded to the Redskins at the time, which are the Commanders now. And he said, hey, man, I know you don't like hanging out, but I'm leaving. We're having this big thing. Yeah, Justin's in the city. Man, I'd love to see you before I leave. I'm like, I don't like doing this. He's like, come on, just come. I said, all right. I said, I'll get a driver. And I said, no, I'll drive because then I can leave when I want to leave because I never stay at a place late. I come in, do my thing, and I leave. And so I said, all right, I'll go. Call my buddy who was my manager at the time. And then a friend of mine, MC Search from third base. So we go, we're in there, a lot of people, good time. And I said, all right, Jesse, man, I'm about to leave. And sorry about that. And I start walking to my car with my buddy and the other people that was with us. And so I said, hey, you guys go ahead. I'm going to go get my car and pull out. And as I did that, a guy ran on the right side of me and like slapped my pocket. And so that was one of the things that back then when they were trying to rob you. And so I turned around and squared off on the guy getting ready to, defend myself. And then another guy came and pointed a 38 at me.
Wow.
And so I'm like, all right, take what you need. I didn't have anything. I might have had $300 in cash. I had my grandfather's, I had a dog tag with his picture and some few diamonds on it. I had a watch and a bracelet on. So it wasn't a lot. And so they was taking that. And at that time, another buddy of theirs had my friends held up against the wall, but they had their hand on their shirt. So there was no gun exposed. And so the guy that hit my pocket told the guy with the gun, he was like, you can tell he was young, he was shaking. He said, shoot this N-word to me. And I said, I got a pinky ring. And as I got ready to pull the pinky ring off, I hear my buddy yell, he doesn't have a gun. So they took off running. So I had a spare key. I had a spare key under my tire. So I told Brad, I said, come with me. Let's follow them because I know they're going to the subway. So you call the cops. I'll drive and we'll follow him. And so as he's on the phone with the cops, we got you pinged, pull over, let your buddy drive, you get in the car with us. And so it was like that series Cops, where they shut down every subway, in or out, shut it down. You couldn't do it. And so they caught all the guys.
Wow.
They had to pull up to the subway station, wherever interest they got the guys at, and they would flash a light and say, "Is this him?" And I'm like, yeah. They say, "Okay, we need you to come back to the station. We're taking them in. You have to fill out a report." So I get to the station, and I'm still like steaming.
Yeah.
And so I'm sitting there waiting. And so a detective tapped me on the shoulder, and I turn around, and I know him. He used to do security for the Nets. And I think his name was Keith. Yeah, his name was Keith. I said, "Keith," I said, "can you open up this cell right here with the guy that said shoot me? I want to have a word with him." He's like, "No, Chris, we can't do it." I said, "You guys do it all the time." I said, "I just need 5 minutes," because he told this guy to shoot me. And so Keith looked around.
Yeah.
He opened the the cell, and I said, "Just close it." I said, "I'll be 5 minutes." And the guy is sitting there with his eyes just this big. And I looked at him. I said, "You told your friend to shoot me after I gave you everything." I said, "Why would you do that?" And he wouldn't say nothing. I said, "Okay, you're not going to say anything." I said, "I'm going to let you swing first. After that, I'm going to get the answer that I asked you." And he swung, and I ducked and missed, and I hit him with like 10 punches.
Speed back.
And I had to, and I took the chair and I put it under his neck. And so Keith was like, "Oh no." And he came and opened his said, "Chris, you can't do this." I said, "You know what? You're probably right, but now I feel better." And so they end up, these guys end up getting, I think, and the kid that had the gun, he had inside a Lakers starter jacket where he had cut a hole inside the arm, the sleeve. And they caught him with the gun. He was 19. He ended up getting 12 years. And everybody else got, I think, like 7 or 8 years.
Yeah.
Because it's armed robbery.
Right.
And so
Jesus.
I end up getting everything back except the dog tag, which was heartbreaking because I knew that, somebody that was not on the up and up probably kept it. And so I tell that story to lead into me not getting healthy, that incident. So went to Rod Thorne, who was the president GM, and I said, "Hey, I think it's time for me to hang him up because I'm not getting healthy, and I'd rather you just waive me because I don't want to take a spot from somebody else that might be coming up from the CBA or somebody else that you're looking for that's on the waiver wire. So just," and he's like, "Are you sure? Are you sure?" I'm like, "Yeah, I've been thinking about it. I want to spend more time with my kids and do other things. But yeah, just waive me and let somebody else have that spot." Now, it was very hard because we had a good team. I would have been on the team that played the Lakers in the finals for 2 years. And me sitting at home watching that, knowing that I couldn't get healthy and I could have helped that team because that's something that Jay Kidd and I talked about. Because he could have moved to the 2, or I can go to the 2. He can play the 1. We could complement each other, and we can defend bigger guards. And so that could have moved Vince or Richard Jefferson to play the 3, and we could have went small and did a lot of different things. But it just wasn't in the cards. And as hard as it was for me to do it, it was the right choice at that time, and I have no regrets.
What a story, man! Oof, crazy. I mean, there's a movie there. There's got to be a Chris Charles movie here.
I could have lost my life.
Phenomenal. Yeah. And the good thing is at the end they got there, right? And to be part of that. So, okay, you're inducted in the Boise State Hall of Fame a few years back. Your coach Bobby D did the induction. It was quite emotional. Let's roll that.
You know, it's amazing as the years have gone by. I think back to some of those earlier times where some of the great knockdown brawls took place between he and I. There's another guy running around here tonight that was also a part of those brawls. But one of the great competitors ever, right here. Great competitors. He was never at a loss for words when he was with me. Thank you very much.
All right. I don't have a speech, but I just want to thank a lot of people, the Hall of Fame committee, the administration, the city of Boise, everybody that's really supporting me, throughout the good years and bad years. And this is home now. This is my home. I know I go home to Bakersfield with my family, but this is what I call home. And I really appreciate, everybody in here for coming.
So, you see your son there, your son Jesse up there with you. I understand he played some high-level hoops in Europe. That moment was, it's hard for you to find the words, wasn't it?
It was very special. Bobby Dye gave me an opportunity to compete in college basketball. Was he hard? He was harder on me, and he knows it, than anybody on the team or before me, but he knew my capabilities and what was needed of me. And like he said, we had some screams. We screamed at each other and had to be separated a lot of times. But the great thing about Coach is he didn't hold it against me, or he didn't let it linger. Once we yelled at each other, it was back to doing your job. He was teaching me how to grow up, be a man. I was 17 when I got to college. So I wasn't used to yelling. I wanted to transfer and go to Oregon State and play with Gary Payton. But once again, he talked to my dad. My dad talked to me. Once again, the wisdom, if you quit now, you'll be a quitter for the rest of your life. So stick it out, grit your teeth, and do what you need to do. And went to Bobby. I said, whatever you need from me, I'm expecting even more of myself. So don't worry about it. I got this. And once we had those words and we had that talk, he can call a play and I see something different. And sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. When it didn't work, he would yell at me. And when his didn't work, I would yell at him. So we were like husband and wife.
Well, one thing Chris Charles was a quitter, man. Resilient, stay with it. We saw your son was up there, Jesse, and mentioned he played some high level hoops, and your daughters too, also elite athletes as well. You're proud of your kids, I'm guessing.
To have other people come up to you and say, we really enjoy your kids, we love your kids, they're so respectful and they're smart and good kids. That's what a parent wants to hear. All my kids went to college. All of them played sport, got scholarships, and they're all successful now. Well, some married, some not, but they're living their lives in a manner that a dad, we always worry, but I don't worry too much about them because myself and their mothers have instilled in them to not be followers, be leaders. Right from wrong, and just know the consequences that come with wrong decisions. And so now seeing Jesse on there brings back memories, but now they have kids. I have grandkids now. These gray hairs, no hair.
Gotcha.
That comes from kids and grandkids,
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm very proud of all of them. They're beautiful, wonderful adults now, and their mothers have a lot to do with that as well. So I'll be remiss to not mention them and the progression and the to be pleased with our kids. They have a lot to do with that.
Tell us about your foundation.
It's just giving back, man. This is what my dad and I, when he was living, we did. We feed the homeless. Back home in Bakersfield, New York, every city I've been to here in Jacksonville, to move somewhere and to see an area that nobody is really paying much attention to. I can't not just do nothing. So, I might drop off cases of water, towels, any necessities that I get from other people, companies. I do that, spend time with them, because you never know what something that you say might have an effect on them. Mentor young men and women to be better, be better than you were yesterday. Give them an avenue or an arena to talk, because some kids don't like talking at school. They don't like talking to teachers. So we have our own town hall meeting to discuss things, future things that are going on in their lives, that hopefully someone in that room could help them figure it out. If it's not me, it's somebody that I'll bring, whether it's a teacher or another athlete or a pastor. We have someone that will be able to help you navigate this thing called life. And then I train young kids in basketball the way that I know how to train, and that's giving it 100%. But you don't get better when you train with me. You get better by yourself. When you can wake up early in the morning and run your miles or do your push-ups and your sit-ups and your dribbling drills and the things that I've instilled in you or tried to teach you. Now it's up to you to put the gas in the car so that it runs smoothly. So it's Child's Play Empowerment, Inc. Anybody, my email is goldenchilds@gmail.com. You can reach out to me there, and then I'll give you the breakdown of what we do. And then if it's really important to you, I'll give you my cell phone and we can talk one-on-one over the phone, how you can contribute. Or if you just have kind words that I can share with the kids, we take that as well. So Chris Childs Empowerment, Inc. And my email is goldenchilds@gmail.com.
All right. Thank you, Chris. Got it. That's awesome. I appreciate you being here. I just want to ask you one question. The Raptors run in 2019 all the way to the NBA championship. Were you following that?
I was seeing a lot of the guys that were on that bench, still part of the coaching staff that I remember, that were equipment managers, whatever, seeing the city exploding to bring a championship across the border. It was, and I'm still getting chills because I was a part of the Raptors team. So I feel like I'm a family member that's got a chance to see my little brothers come up and do something that big brother couldn't. And so I was proud of them. I was so happy that whoever they made it a little looser so that when Kawhi shot that ball, it bounced up a couple of times and went in. So thank you for keeping that rim a little loose for that shot. But yeah, it was a special moment.
Oh yeah, that was unbelievable. And when they celebrated like something in the neighborhood of 3 million people downtown, it was insane. They stopped the parade. It was crazy, just crazy. So much fun.
That's the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Well, Chris, I want to thank you for taking this time.
Yeah, that's the way it's supposed to be when you win a title. I think we froze.
Oh, is that right? Yeah. Sorry, Chris. Yeah, I just saying that's the way it's supposed to be. And it was about as much fun as you can have. And we're hoping to have a few more celebrations real soon for the Jays and maybe even the Maple Leafs as well. Yeah. Okay. Chris, I want to say thank you for taking this time to join us. It was been awesome having you on. Thank you. Appreciate this.
Absolutely. My pleasure. My pleasure.
All right. When we come back, Jack Armstrong and Leo Rollins talk about how the Raptors NBA championship in 2019 was so fun and so Canadian. In 1992, the best locally owned restoration companies came together with one goal: to make disaster recovery better for Canadians. And to this day, DKI remains one of the only 100% Canadian-owned disaster restoration groups in the market. Fire, flood, or storm damage. When things go wrong, the right help makes all the difference. With the right tools and local expertise, we handle everything from emergency response to full-scale restoration, getting homes and businesses back on track the right way. Because a home is more than four walls, a business is more than a building, and recovery is about more than repairs. When you choose DKI, you're choosing a company that's put Canada first since 1992. Locally owned, nationally backed, Canadian through and through. Addiction Rehab Toronto, Toronto's #1 alcohol and drug treatment center. Saving lives, reuniting families. The only treatment center in the province to offer medical detox, treatment, sober living, and lifetime aftercare all in one place. Our unique and specialized programs are designed to equip our clients with the tools to successfully lead a life of dignity, respect, and purpose. Let us help save your life or your loved one's life. Call today for more information or to facilitate an intervention. 1-855-787-2424 or visit addictionrehabtoronto.ca. Hearing loss doesn't have to mean missing out. At Hear Canada, we help you take charge with a complimentary hearing assessment because confidence starts with clarity. Discover hearing aids, accessories, and expert care at your local hearing center. Not sure where to start? Our Hearing Health Guide has the basics for you or a loved one. It worked for us. Book your free assessment today at hearcanada.com. Conditions may apply. So the Raptors finally break through in 2019 after all those previous disappointments. This is what your cohort, Leo Rautins, had to say when we asked him what it was like for him.
Sneaking into gyms and hoping to play basketball to having an NBA team and everything being crazy like this. So it was incredible. It was incredible. And then the parade was, it was Canada. It was, Canada's, we talk about it off the top, they open their doors to people. We are multicultural, multi-ethnic, unbelievable country. And when you looked at the parade, that was it. And everybody, it was a sea of humanity, every color, every race, everything. And it was beautiful. So the whole thing was just something, I'll never forget. And to be a part of that, it was amazing.
Were you, or would you echo Leo's sentiments in what you saw, and what would you add to that?
I don't know how much more I could say. I thought he nailed it. I think he nailed it. I mean, it was a remarkable event and a great celebration of Canada, a great celebration of the Raptors. And, let's face it, the Raptors are a unique team in the NBA, unlike the other 29. We're the only team in the league. Every game's on national television. We're a national team. We're Canada's team. Again, like being at the Toronto Blue Jays game yesterday, that's the only baseball team in Canada, and so it's a celebration for people from all over Canada. So to me, it was just remarkable. And again, it's such a unique franchise and a unique job. And again, my 29 colleagues in the NBA that do what I do as an analyst, they're calling for a region. I'm calling for a country.
Discover the secret to timeless vitality at Renew Medical Center in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. Our specialists unravel the science of aging, tailoring plans to defy its effects. Experience cutting-edge regenerative therapies such as stem cells and exosomes, addressing aging at its core.
It's a wonderful spot, and I highly recommend it for whatever you may need, whether you just want to feel better, you want to look better, have basically a quality of life, just to ramp it up a little bit as we age.
Liberate yourself from aging-related concerns, where accountability, technology, and passion for regenerative medicine converge. Begin your path to peak health and wellness with us. Schedule your appointment today at renewpv.com and elevate your quality of life.
Parents, what's the biggest fear for kids 10 to 14? A future they think they can't handle. At Believe, Become, Be You, we know confidence in the future is a habit we can build. Our course doesn't just prepare kids for the future, it seeds them with skills they will use now. For a limited time, the I Believe in Me Foundation is offering the first 1,000 kids and their parents 1 year free access. This priceless opportunity will save you over $2,000. This isn't just a course. It's a journey in developing life-enhancing skills that will grow with your child, fostering gritty minds, creative futures, and better bonds. Get signed up now at BelieveBecomeBeYou.com. That's BelieveBecomeBeYou.com.
And we want to thank all the folks who make the show possible. These are friends, trusted business associates, and all-around great people. We highly recommend them all. Thank you for your support of Canadian sports. A reminder, the show is available on iTunes, Spotify, Breaker, wherever you get your podcast from. Also, check out our show on YouTube. All of our past shows are on there. Clips, shorts, like and subscribe. Our socials are at Joe Swiss Tilley on Instagram and Threads. Joe Tilley's Great Canadian Sports Show on Facebook. Thanks once again to Chris Childs for joining us, and thank you for watching. We'll see you next time. MNP, a leading Canadian national accounting, tax, and business accounting firm. MNP proudly serves and responds to the need of their clients in the private, public, and nonprofit sectors. Through partner-led engagements, MNP provides a collaborative, cost-effective approach to do business and personal strategies to help people and organizations to succeed across the country and around the world. With local offices in Oshawa, Mississauga, Burlington, and more, their team is here to support you. Visit mnp.ca today to learn more.
Brian Gribben Insurance Planning, helping you solidify your financial future.
At BGIP, what we do that's unique in the marketplace is we show people how to spend and enjoy their money in their early years of retirement without the fear of running out. Also, we're able to do this without you having to change financial advisors. Please look us up at bgip.ca today. And let's book a 30-minute phone call to see how we can bring value to you and your family in your planning.
Call Brian today for all your retirement needs. We did. 905-686-5678.
Joe Tilley here. My wife Penny Claire and I recently took an amazing trip to Egypt and Jordan with Trip Oppo. And here are our top 10 must-dos. Last but not least, we relaxed at a luxury resort and took a dip in the famous Dead Sea. This beautiful resort was a perfect way to cap off our incredible adventure in Egypt and Jordan. After days of exploring ancient ruins and bustling markets, it was wonderful to just kick back, put on a little mud, and soak up the sun by the Dead Sea. Oh, I almost forgot to mention the amazing cuisine in Egypt and Jordan. Don't forget to try the delicious local food like mouth-watering Egyptian barbecue. And the best part is that our Trip Oppo tour includes almost all of the meals, so you can indulge in the local cuisine without worrying about opening your wallet. I would highly recommend that you book your next trip through Trip Oppo. Call them today. Rooted in 60 years of tradition, Sleepy Hollow is a private golf club with a friendly community of members just minutes from Toronto. With mature trees and rolling fairways, Sleepy Hollow provides a challenging and enjoyable experience for passionate golfers. Enjoy great golf, amazing dining, and a picturesque patio second to none. Visit SleepyHollowCountryClub.com.